I'm currently working on another bookmark, one that I wasn't planning on working on. Before starting this one, I was working on another bookmark, but let's just say I wasn't entirely happy with how it was turning out. Now granted, I still liked the idea, but I wasn't vibing with how it was coming together, like which items were included, where they were placed, and even the colors that I picked out. It's just one of those artworks where I need to spend a little bit more time with it. However, I don't have that time right now, so instead I decided to switch over and start working on this bookmark, which originally I wasn't even going to work on or even include within the shop updates, as I was going to work on it after. However, the idea of reworking this design got stuck in my head and I just could not let it go. I had come across this bookmark design when I was going through all of my listings on Etsy, and I had found this one in my drafts. It was listed on my Etsy once upon a time, however, I ended up taking it down a while ago as it wasn't getting much love. So I put it on a list of listings that I wanted to go back and rework. However, I decided that not only did I want to rework this listing, but I also wanted to rework the design as well. I still adore the potion bottles and the color palette that I used, though I could tell that there was something missing. And upon a closer look, I figured out what it was. There was no shading, no highlights, there wasn't even a lot of contrast either. So basically there wasn't any rendering done on this artwork. And I think that sums up the artwork that I had created before I took a year and a half off. And this bookmark is one of the best examples of that. Both then and now, I still love everything that I've created back then. Still loved each and every design and product that I made during that time. But at the end of the day, the art was rushed. I didn't spend the time on creating details or even putting shading or highlights on the artwork, because back then I had put a lot of pressure on myself. Pressure to create a lot of artwork so that I could do bigger and better product launches. But here's the catch. At that time, I didn't see it as pressure. I saw it as motivation, passion, and of course moving towards or even achieving the goals that I had set for myself, which unfortunately had left me unaware of how much my art was suffering. Because not only was I not giving myself time to fully finish the artwork before moving on to the next, but I was also rushing it, which in the end left me with artwork like this bookmark. But today I am changing that. I want to give this bookmark the time and love that it deserves. I went into this redesign with a lot of things in mind. I had a list of things that I wanted to change and even things that I wanted to keep the same. One of those things is the vibe of the bookmark. I really want to try and keep the same feeling that the original bookmark gave off, which is more of a foresty, green witch, even cottagecore type feeling. As for some of the things that I wanted to change, well, I wanted to add a bit more variety within the potion bottle shapes, instead of having the same two shapes for the bottles. I also wanted to play around with how the liquids would sit within the bottle while it's on its side, upside down, that sort of thing. However, I low-key gave up on that, just a bit. I didn't think that it looked that good or made that much sense, at least the way that I was drawing it. But I definitely kept it in mind which way the potion bottles were tilting and made sure that the liquid inside matched it a bit. So there's that. I also wanted to make the vines a bit more unique and different from each other, as in the original I basically just drew one vine and then copied and pasted it around the bookmark. I am, however, going to keep the leaves the same, and I'm not going to color them in as well, because I really liked how they looked within the original. Now I am going to go and change the color of the vines just a bit, as I wanted them to be a bit more darker, just to add a little bit of contrast within the artwork, as that was something else that I had observed from the original as well. Not only did I not add shadows or highlight, but the colors I used didn't offer that much variety within contrast. They were all just basically muted colors. Also going to be playing around with the colors of the liquids that are inside the potion bottles. I am going to keep the same basic colors, but some of them are going to be a bit lighter, some a bit darker, and there's even going to be a few that will remain the same color. I'm also going to be keeping the stars the same shape, size, and color. Just like with the leaves, I really love how they looked within the original. However, I am thinking of either putting a glow effect on the potion bottles or the stars. But we'll just have to wait and see once we get to that point. Now for the glass of the potion bottles. I really like the way that I did the glass in the original. However, I do think that it blended in just a bit too much with everything, and it's kind of hard to see. So I decided to go with a kind of light blue color for the redesign. However, once I had lined and colored everything in, it just looked a bit too blue. So I ended up turning down the opacity on both of the layers, and I really like how it looks. Now for the liquids in the potion bottle. I wanted the liquid to look like it was glowing, so I outlined the liquid in shadows while putting the highlights in the middle. I also really love how this turned out. And even though that it was a byproduct, it actually helped a lot to create contrast within the design. And I basically did that for every single potion bottle. So while slowly losing my sanity over rendering potion bottles for a good couple of hours, I ended up finishing the Natland Archon quest, just in time for the Archon quest in 5.1. Yay! Though, I do have to say, as much as I had set out on working on the bookmark while listening to the quest, that did not happen. I tried, I really did. However, it just got to the point where I would pick up my controller, get to the next point of dialogue, place my controller down, started drawing for about 4 minutes, and then I would have to re-pick my controller up. It just got to the point where there really was no point in putting my controller back down. But either way, I am really glad that I was able to finish it. Now I don't have to dodge spoilers left, right, and center on TikTok, which is amazing. Anyway, back to the drawing. Once I finished with the liquid, I started drawing the leaves on the vines. And even though there was tedious and repetitive, it wasn't nearly as time consuming as the potion bottles. Also, at some point I did play around with adding the glow effect to the potion bottles. I do like how it looks with just the one, but I am unsure if it will look good when all the potion bottles have a glow or if it will just be too much. But before I go and add the glow effects to each and every bottle, I forgot to do the quirks on the bottles. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I did go through it and slightly change each quirk on every potion bottle, as not only did I want all of them to look slightly different, but I also wanted them to fit within each of the bottles. And after that, it's now time to play around with the glow effect. I went in and placed a glow on each of the bottles. I liked it, but my thoughts are confirmed. I do think that it's a bit too much and kind of feels like it takes away from the drawing just a bit. So I ended up drawing the stars and putting a glow effect on them, and I have to say, I'm going to be staying with the stars. In the end, I feel like they aren't as distracting as the potion bottles. As for the next part of the drawing, I didn't film this part. But with all that being said, I did go and color in all the quirks, and though this wasn't planned, I did end up adding some highlights to the glass bottles, which I really think just elevated the drawing so much. In the end, I love how this bookmark turned out. Do I think that I was successful in keeping the vibe from the original drawing? Kind of, but also not really. I do think that I kept the Green Witch nature vibe, but there's just something about the original that I don't think translated into the redesign. But I think that's because the original was so simple and the redesign is anything but that. I think if I wanted to keep the feeling from the original the same, then I should have kept the shadows and highlights to a minimum, as well as making sure that the colors I used for the shadows and highlights didn't differ too much from the base color. But at the end of the day, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to add depth and contrast to everything, and I absolutely love how it turned out. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up on your way out, and if you love this bookmark, then it will be available to purchase along with the other bookmarks and stickers on my Etsy on September 29th. If you want to know where this Halloween collection all began, you can watch this video of me sketching out all the designs. But until next time, see ya!